Self-mastery is the beginning of all power, and without it, no true or lasting success can be achieved. A person may accumulate wealth, gain status, or rise to prominence, but if they cannot govern their own emotions, they remain, in essence, a slave to external forces. The first and most critical battle one must win is not against others. It is against the self. This battle is not fought with weapons or waged in public arenas. It is fought in the silent chambers of the mind, in the moments when anger rises, when frustration beckons, and when pride demands its own way. When we speak of self-mastery, we are speaking of control over thought, emotion, and action. Not suppression, but governance. It is not about denying how we feel. It is about choosing how we respond. Many individuals confuse reaction with strength. They believe that to speak first, to shout the loudest, or to dominate with force is a sign of power. But this is not power, it is evidence of internal chaos. True power is silent, composed, deliberate. The person who can remain calm while others lose control is the one who possesses real influence, because their behavior is chosen, not dictated. Let us consider what happens when you do not master yourself. One moment of anger can destroy years of trust. One emotional outburst can sever relationships, cost opportunities, or damage reputations. How many people have regretted something they said in the heat of the moment? How many have looked back and wished they had paused before reacting? These regrets are common because reaction without reflection is a mark of undisciplined living. It is living at the mercy of impulses, and as long as you are ruled by impulses, you are not free. You are not in control. Others and the circumstances around you are pushing the buttons that direct your behavior. Now imagine the alternative, a person who meets conflict with composure, who listens more than they speak, who absorbs criticism without crumbling or lashing out, who observes emotions rise and fall within them, but does not become those emotions. That person is unshakable. They do not allow others to manipulate them because they do not hand over control of their internal state. And because of that, they can lead, influence, and inspire, not by force, but by example. Self-mastery begins with awareness. You must become a student of your own inner world. Notice what triggers you. Observe how your emotions behave in different situations. Learn to identify the gap between stimulus and response. And then, little by little, stretch that gap. In that space lies your power. That is where choice exists. At first, it may only be a second, but with practice, that second becomes longer. You begin to catch yourself before the words fly out. You begin to feel anger without becoming it. You learn to pause, reflect, and respond in alignment with your higher values, not your fleeting moods. Discipline is the daily work of self-mastery. You do not become calm simply by wishing it. You become calm by training your mind, by feeding it purposeful thoughts, by exposing yourself to challenge and responding with intention. Over time, this becomes your nature. Calmness becomes your default, not your disguise. Ultimately, the one who controls himself is the one who is ready to take control of his life, his relationships, his work, and his destiny. All influence, all leadership, all greatness begins there. Until you win that first victory, you will find yourself losing in places you thought you were winning. But once you win it, no storm outside can shake what is anchored within. Every person who crosses your path carries with them a lesson, not always a pleasant one, but a lesson nonetheless. Difficult people, in particular, are among life's most powerful teachers, though they rarely come dressed in kindness or wrapped in politeness. They come in the form of critics, complainers, manipulators, and those who push your buttons without remorse. But here lies a profound truth. Every adversary is a mirror. They reflect something inside of you, something perhaps unnoticed, unhealed, or undisciplined, and in doing so, they give you the priceless opportunity to grow. When someone provokes you, it's easy to point the finger outward. They made me angry, you might say, but in reality, no one can make you feel anything without your internal permission. The anger is not placed there by them, it is drawn out of you. What's being exposed is not just their behavior, but your own unresolved emotions, your expectations, your insecurities, or perhaps your need for validation. Their behavior shines a light on your inner world. And instead of reacting blindly, the wise person asks, "What is this revealing about me?" This perspective changes the entire nature of interpersonal conflict. Instead of seeing the other person as an enemy, you begin to see them as a mirror, a tool of reflection. This does not excuse rudeness or toxicity, but it reframes your response. Rather than retaliating or allowing yourself to be emotionally hijacked, you begin to step back, observe, and analyze. You ask, why does this bother me so deeply? What expectation did I hold that was violated? What part of me feels threatened, and why? The moment you do this, you shift the power dynamic. No longer are you a puppet to someone else's strings. You become the observer of your own mind. This observation creates distance, and in that distance you find freedom, not from others, but from your own unconscious reactions. This is the real value of difficult people. They reveal your emotional edges, they test the strength of your character, they challenge your self-control, and like a muscle under tension, your composure grows only through resistance. It is easy to be calm when no one tests you. It is easy to speak gently when no one offends you, but it is the irritating, stubborn, aggressive individuals who give you the training ground to become unshakable. Let us be clear. This does not mean you must allow people to mistreat you or accept abuse. Boundaries are essential, but even the act of setting boundaries can be done with calm authority rather than emotional eruption, and that's where the power lies, in responding, not reacting, in choosing rather than being driven. Life, if you pay close attention, is always pointing you inward. Each external disturbance is an invitation to examine your internal state. When you understand this, you stop blaming others for how you feel. You take full responsibility. You stop wishing for easier people and start wishing for stronger inner strength, and that strength is built through friction, by facing the very personalities that once sent you spiraling. The mirror they hold up may show you impatience, pride, insecurity, or unresolved pain, but it can also show you where you've grown, where you once would have lashed out, but now remain still, where you once were fragile, but now stand steady. This is the real victory, not over them, but over the parts of yourself that were once reactive, impulsive, or easily broken. In the end, the most difficult people you meet will either pull you into chaos or push you toward wisdom. And the choice, as always, is yours. Use them as mirrors, and you will see not only who they are, but who you are becoming. In every moment of tension, in every confrontation, there lies a choice so small that most people overlook it entirely. That choice is between reacting and responding. Though the two may appear similar, they are fundamentally different in both nature and effect. A reaction is immediate, automatic, and often emotional. It arises from the primitive part of the brain that seeks to defend, retaliate, or escape. A response, on the other hand, is measured, thoughtful, and intentional. It is the product of a disciplined mind, a mind that has been trained to pause before it acts. When you react instantly to what someone says or does, you hand over control. You allow their words or behavior to dictate your emotional state and, consequently, your actions. You become like a puppet, your strings pulled by every insult, every disagreement, every frustrating tone. And once your emotions take the wheel, logic, clarity, and purpose are pushed aside. You say things you didn't mean to say. You escalate conflicts that could have been resolved peacefully. You create outcomes you later regret. All because you acted before thinking. This is where the power of controlled response becomes vital. The ability to pause, even for a brief moment, before deciding how to act is one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. That pause, though often lasting only seconds, is the gateway to wisdom. It is the space where you access your higher self, where you align your actions with your values rather than your emotions. In that small space, you regain control of the situation and, more importantly, of yourself. It's important to recognize that control is not about suppression. It's not about pretending you don't feel irritated, angry, or hurt. Those emotions are natural and valid, but control means not letting those emotions speak for you. It means allowing yourself to feel them without allowing them to govern you. A controlled response acknowledges emotion, then filters it through reason, principle, and purpose before expressing it in words or actions. Developing this kind of discipline takes practice. It begins with self-awareness, recognizing the emotional signals in your body before they erupt into behavior. Maybe it's a tightening in your chest, a rush of heat to your face, a sudden quickening of breath. These are cues that you're on the edge of a reaction. When you notice them, you create a mental signal, pause, breathe, step back mentally, even if just for a few seconds. Ask yourself, what is the outcome I want here? Will what I'm about to say move me closer to that outcome or further away? Controlled response is especially powerful in high-pressure environments. In business meetings, negotiations, or personal arguments, because it gives you the ability to shape the emotional climate instead of being shaped by it. It allows you to de-escalate instead of inflame, to direct the conversation instead of letting it spiral. And this isn't just useful, it's transformative. People are drawn to those who stay calm under fire. They trust those who don't react recklessly. They follow those who think before they speak. With time, choosing a response over a reaction becomes second nature. You stop being surprised by other people's behavior, and instead, you expect emotional tests. You prepare for them. You begin to understand that most conflicts are not personal. They are patterns, and the calmer you are, the more clearly you can see through them. Choose your response and maintain your inner balance. When you respond instead of react, you own the moment, you own your mind, you own the power, and that power, when wielded with intention, can turn conflict into connection, chaos into clarity, and confrontation into an opportunity for growth. The mind is a garden, and every thought is a seed. What you plant regularly is what will grow. You cannot expect peace if your thoughts are scattered, chaotic, or poisoned with negativity. The quality of your emotional state is always a reflection of the quality of your mental discipline. To stay calm no matter who you're dealing with, you must learn to discipline your thoughts with the same seriousness that a soldier prepares for battle. Because in truth, every emotional reaction you have is born first from thought. And if you are not governing those thoughts, then you are leaving your calmness to chance. Every day, from the moment you open your eyes, you are bombarded by inputs. People's voices, messages, opinions, problems, and behaviors come rushing at you. And your mind, if left undirected, will begin to react to all of it. It will absorb anger, fear, frustration, and urgency. It will become a mirror of the outer world instead of the commander of your inner world. You cannot afford to live that way, not if your goal is self-mastery. You must become intentional. You must feed your mind only what strengthens your character, sharpens your focus, and steadies your emotions. This means taking control of what you allow into your thoughts. Negative people, toxic media, constant complaining, gossip, fear, based news. These are weeds in the garden of your peace. If you do not actively remove them, they will take root and choke out your calm. But it also goes deeper. Even your own self-talk must be examined. How do you speak to yourself when someone disrespects you? What kind of story do you tell yourself about the difficult person in front of you? Is it a narrative of anger and revenge, or is it one of understanding and strategy? You see, your thoughts create your emotions. Your emotions create your reactions. Your reactions shape your outcomes. And it all begins with what you choose to dwell on. If you focus on the insult, you will feel insulted. If you focus on the challenge, you will feel defensive. But if you focus on your purpose, on staying composed, staying aligned with your values, then no matter what someone else does, you remain calm, you remain in control. This is not about pretending things don't affect you. It's about choosing what you want to amplify. Thought discipline means catching yourself before the mental spiral begins. It means noticing the first signs of emotional disturbance and choosing to redirect your focus. Instead of playing and replaying the scene where someone disrespected you, you direct your mind towards solutions, clarity, and growth. Instead of asking, "Why did they say that?" you ask, "How can I respond in a way that aligns with who I want to be?" This level of thought control is not natural. It is trained. You must practice it. You must develop the mental habit of catching negative thoughts before they snowball into emotional reactions. And the only way to build this habit is through repetition. Every time you pause and redirect a harmful thought, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you choose stillness over mental chaos, you reinforce your power. Over time, this discipline creates a new default state, calmness. Not a forced calmness, but a real, deep inner peace that no longer depends on how others behave. You no longer wait for the world to treat you gently. You train your mind to remain steady regardless of how the world acts. This is how true calm is developed, not as a passive personality trait, but as the reward of inner work. Thoughts are the beginning of everything. Guard them, guide them, train them, because a disciplined mind is the foundation of a calm life. And when your mind is calm, no person, no conflict, and no situation can steal your peace. Calmness is often misunderstood. It is mistaken for passivity, for weakness, for inaction. But calmness, when rightly understood, is none of these things. It is not the absence of power, it is the controlled and intentional use of it. Remaining calm is not surrendering your strength. It is demonstrating that your strength is so great, it does not need to shout, panic, or threaten. It is a deliberate and strategic posture, chosen by those who understand that true influence requires clarity, not chaos, to stay calm, especially in tense or emotionally charged interactions, is to stay in control. While others are reacting, flailing, accusing, or blaming, the calm individual sees the bigger picture. They are not caught in the storm. They are above it, directing their course with purpose. This calm is not indifference. It is not emotional detachment. It is the ability to feel emotions fully but not be driven by them. It is being able to sit in discomfort without needing to immediately discharge it onto someone else. Think of the greatest leaders, negotiators, and problem solvers. They do not let the mood of the room dictate their mood. They walk in with presence, not pressure. They observe before they speak. They listen without needing to interrupt. And when they finally respond, their words carry weight, not because of volume, but because of precision and timing. Calmness gives them that advantage. It is the edge that allows them to lead from a place of groundedness rather than from emotional reaction. In conflict, calmness disarms. When someone expects you to retaliate and instead you respond with poise, they are thrown off balance. When you refuse to escalate, you silently communicate that you are not easily moved, that your center is strong. This doesn't make you less respected. It makes you more. People may not always agree with you, but they will come to trust that you are not unpredictable. You become a stable force in an unstable world, and that is a rare and valuable trait. But this calmness must be cultivated. It must be chosen again and again. even when your ego demands revenge, even when your pride wants to win the argument, even when everything inside you wants to fight back. You must ask yourself, what is my goal here? Is it to prove a point, or is it to progress toward a solution? Is it to win the moment, or to win the long term? Calmness gives you the power to make that choice. Reactivity robs you of it. It's important to remember that calmness is not the same as silence. Sometimes calm means saying what needs to be said, but saying it without venom. It means being firm without being aggressive. It means drawing boundaries without hostility. In this way, calm becomes the most strategic response to pressure. It protects your energy, sharpens your mind, and keeps you in a position of strength even when others are losing theirs. What's more, calmness gives you access to your higher faculties. When you're calm, you can think more clearly, speak more effectively, and see more options. Your mind is not clouded by resentment, fear, or impulse. You are free to choose your next move with intelligence and intent, and this is where real power lies, not in dominating others, but in mastering yourself. So understand this: calm is not the easy way out. It is the strongest stance you can take. It is the sign that you have trained yourself to respond rather than react, to hold the line when others are losing theirs. It is not a weakness to be calm. It is the discipline of the powerful. And the more you practice it, the more unshakable you become, not because the world gets easier, but because your spirit grows stronger.